Alright, this series is just to detail some of the expectations and standards that we have at EPC. My wife noted that I probably sound a little bit snarky in these videos, which is not my intent, just my humor is sometimes a little dry. Also, the suggestion was to have some hot babe narrate, which is a good idea, but I didn't do it this time.
Alright, EPC Orientation video number 1. So first thing, all new members, highly recommend, well, it should be part of what you're doing when you sign up, is getting on my YouTube channel and finding a playlist entitled Instructional Videos. So if you go through that, you're going to learn, one, how we do the movements here at EPC and how we coach them. So you can find me on either Chris Duffin or Kabuki07 is my YouTube account. We're going to do a quick walk through the gym and talk about things that you need to be aware of with the gym. So let's start with bars. So our bars here at EPC, we've probably got more invested in bars than most people have in their gyms. They range between $500 to $1,500 per bar. So these ones with red marks on them, these are our squat bars. They should never be anywhere really besides squat racks. They're 55 pounds, so that's a good thing to know. All the other bars in here are 45 pounds unless it's a specialty welded up bar. It's really important to note with our bars, these green, we've got ones that are marked with green tape on them. So green tape is either an Olympic lifting bar or a deadlifting bar. The deadlifting ones, you'll note, have no knurling in the center. So if it's got some knurling in the center and it's a little bit shorter, it's likely an Olympic lifting bar. These never leave the ground. So you can have the weights on platforms like this, but never have one of these bars in a rack. You will face the wrath if you do. Next, we've got, we should only be using, notice this one is titled bent. There's a couple bars in here that are bent. These are the only time we should ever be using any bar off of a pin press where you've got a weight dropping on something, because that will bend the bars. So we want to avoid that at all costs. All right, so plate storage. We're going to hit plate storage really quick. These mobile racks here with the handles on them, these are for our kilo plates or competition plates. So notice these red ones, they're 55 pounds basically a piece. So if you ever load them on the bars, don't get confused and think you're weak. They're heavy. So make sure they're going back on there. We want to make sure all our plates are going away. It's pretty common that we're doing team environment here, so sometimes you may walk away and there's still some people lifting. Make sure that you come back when you're done and help participate in the cleanup, because that's how we end up with a lot of stuff left over. Over here, we've got our Olympic lifting weights stacked up here. Make sure they're not left on the floor. Same thing. There's racks all over this gym to put weights. We've got racks and racks and racks and racks everywhere in here. Lots of places to put weights, not on the floor. Okay, collars. So make sure you're collaring your weights. You may not have had a problem in the past with, weights falling off the end of a bar. All it takes is one time to screw you up. Make sure you're putting collars on it. Collars can be found in these little green buckets on the floor. Guess what? When you're done lifting, that's where they should go back to. All right, so speaking of cleanup things, we've got this large runway here. This area we want to keep clear. That way, if you need to come over and do something, and you've got a 10-minute workout, you don't have to spend 20 minutes cleaning up before you go. So as you can see, we've got sleds out here. You want to slide these sleds over, if you're done using them, against the wall. That way, if somebody comes in there to use them, they don't have to do that. We've got our big open area here. This is for dumbbell work, kettlebell work, base work, stuff like that. Make sure this area is clean. If you put a rack in here, you want to take it out and put it to the side when you're done. If you're doing stuff with the grappler weight should be pulled off, and the grappler handers put to the side. You can see really easily we can really keep this area clean, so if you need to do some work, you can come over here and do it. Kettlebells go back on the rack. Dumbbells go back on the dumbbell rack. Very important with dumbbells. Much like plates, we can bend those. You see that? We've got a couple bent dumbbells here. You may not think that's much of a big deal. This dumbbell set here, to go buy this and replace this, is $10,000. Dumbbells are not cheap. How this happens is if you set a weight and it hits the floor on end. So basically if you drop the weight here, 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 in these positions. The only time it should hit the floor is perfectly straight dead on. So, and basically you should be setting them on the floor. But if you ever have to be in that situation, it has to be dead on the floor. Anytime it doesn't, you're going to bend these over. Then you're going to have a very unhappy Duffin. We don't want. Let's talk about bands. Bands should not be a disposable item. They should last for years and years and years. We end up with a lot of them like this. How that happens is if you hang a band over a bar here, looks like it's not going to do anything, but this knurling will cause cuts in it. In the following weeks, that'll end up tearing and breaking. Or let's say squat rack or something similar. You've got it right here, where it's going to catch right here in the corner. That's going to break it. If you've got a band and you put it in something like this, you can see right here, if I put it in, there's no raised areas on the ends. But if I switch this around and put it right here, see how that's all bundled up on the corners? It's going to create a lot of stress risers in the band. So if you want to put a band on the bar, you can put it on the collar or if there's no knurl section. But the best thing to do is grab these fat grips right here. You can put them over the band, over the bar, and then put the band right over the top of that. So again, you don't want to have it on any sharp objects, ever. Any sharp corners or anywhere it's going to cause a pinch, or on any of the knurling. It'll destroy the bands nearly immediately. Even if you don't see it, it's going to put the cuts in there that are going to cause it to break in the following week. The thing with bands, a lot of people will hook them up and do some mobility work, kind of wander off and leave them out there. Make sure they're put away. We've got these nice racks on the wall here. This is where they go, not belong on hanging on equipment. Next to this, we've got this mobile cart also for our chains. All these welded together bundles, they're 50 pounds a piece. There's a breakdown on all these other lighter ones that we'll have posted, but basically there's 10 pounders, 5 pounders, and 20 pounders mixed in here as well. These collars right here fit nicely over the ends of the bar, and then you use these little clips to hang the chains off of. There's a lot of stuff in the gym to help with organization. Notice these little shelves on the wall. This isn't for putting your weights on, they're not going to hold it, but it's a great place to put your shaker cups and stuff. Make sure that you clean them up and get rid of them when you're done with your organization theme. You'll also see we've got these bar racks all through the gym. This is where bars need to go back to. So if you're removing a bar from a rack, don't leave it on the floor. Real handy racks to put those in. Multitude of those. Over in this area, we've got our wrestling mat. Not a lot of wrestling happens on it. It does sometimes when the Stantons get rambunctious, but this is a great place for warm-ups. Don't bring any weights, any barbells, any chairs, anything sharp on it. Basically, the only thing that you should have on it is balls, rollers, your feet, things of that nature that aren't going to damage the mat. One of the things that make EPC special here is the environment. So if you're in team training, you can get a spot. Even if not in team training, you should be able to ask anybody in the gym to be able to spot you, either side spot, back spot, if you're working towards maximum weight. This is a team environment, whether you're training with a team or not. And if you're not, there's also safety devices. Notice these straps here. We've also got a bench press with the safety spots on it. Now, if you decide to remove these, make sure you put them back. The next person that comes up shouldn't have to figure out how these go back on. If you took them off, you put them back on there. On the spotting concept and the support of the team, also respect the other lifters as they're doing their lifts. So don't be walking in front of them, distracting them, or right next to somebody that can throw them off on a lift. So appreciate the fact of what they're doing, and that's the environment here. We're pushing weights, trying to get better. All right, boxes. They'll be labeled right here, but this is the area on the corner here. If they're anywhere through the gym and you're using them, put them back. We've also got these mats or blocks here. They're basically an 1.5 inch increments, so they're like 3 inches, 4.5, 6, so on. But they don't belong right here. So all the way in the back here by the end of the deadlift area, you'll see a big stack of them. They go against the wall right there. The lounge here, we've got the TVs hooked up with the Google TV, so you can watch cable TV or YouTube videos or whatever, but we have lots of people hang out here. Please make sure you clean up after yourself, because this is an entrance for new members to the gym and, just general cleanliness. So a lot of people make protein shakes and stuff like that here. Wipe up the counter when you're done. Make sure everything's thrown away in the garbage.